Hello, and welcome to Celiac.com news. Subscribe to our channel to get the latest celiac disease and gluten-free diet news, and if you have any questions, be sure to join the Celiac.com forum online at Celiac.com. And now, let's move on to the latest Celiac.com news. Fasting with celiac. How to safely practice intermittent fasting or religious fasts on a gluten-free diet. Fasting, whether for health, spiritual growth, or cultural reasons, has become increasingly popular in recent years. But for people with celiac disease or gluten sensitivity, fasting can be more complex. With fewer meals and tighter eating windows, ensuring nutritional adequacy and avoiding accidental gluten exposure becomes even more critical. While fasting may offer benefits like better metabolic health, mental clarity, or deeper spiritual focus, these advantages should never come at the cost of triggering symptoms or risking long-term health problems. This guide explores how those with celiac disease or gluten sensitivity can fast safely, whether they're following intermittent fasting schedules or participating in religious observances like Ramadan, Yom Kippur, Lent, or Hindu fasts. With proper planning and informed choices, fasting on a gluten-free diet is not only possible, it can be done safely and meaningfully. Fasting takes many forms, so the first step is to understand what kind of fast you're doing. Intermittent fasting involves cycling between periods of eating and not eating, with common approaches including the 16-8 schedule, alternate day fasting, or even 24-hour fasts. Religious fasting usually follows spiritual traditions. For example, Ramadan involves fasting from sunrise to sunset each day for a month. Yom Kippur calls for a 25-hour fast with no food or drink. Lent may involve partial fasting or giving up certain foods, and some Hindu fasts involve avoiding grains or eating only specific foods. In every case, if you're living with celiac disease or gluten sensitivity, you must stay vigilant, because even a tiny amount of gluten during a fast-breaking meal can cause inflammation and damage. One of the biggest risks for someone with celiac disease is breaking the fast with gluten, especially after the digestive system has been resting. After long periods without food, your gut may be more sensitive, and gluten exposure can result in stronger than usual symptoms like nausea, bloating, fatigue, or vomiting. Common mistakes include accepting shared food at religious events without verifying ingredients, eating processed foods labeled wheat-free instead of gluten-free, taking supplements or medications with hidden gluten, or eating traditional fast-breaking meals without safe alternatives. To avoid these problems, start with preparation. Speak with a healthcare provider before attempting any fasting if you're newly diagnosed or still experiencing symptoms. Make sure your pantry is stocked with safe, gluten-free ingredients like whole grains, protein sources, and healthy fats. Read labels carefully on everything you buy. It also helps to prep meals ahead of time so that when your eating window opens, you're not tempted to grab something risky or unfamiliar. If you're practicing intermittent fasting on a gluten-free diet, the quality of food during the eating window matters more than the quantity. Break your fast with balanced, nutrient-dense, gluten-free meals. Hydrate with safe, gluten-free beverages. Avoid fasting on days when you're feeling unwell or recovering from accidental gluten exposure. Religious fasting adds another layer of complexity, but can still be managed with some planning. During Ramadan, for example, the pre-dawn meal, suhoor, should include gluten-free carbohydrates like certified oats or millet. At iftar, or the evening fast-breaking meal, use gluten-free flatbreads and rice dishes instead of wheat-based foods. For Yom Kippur, make your pre-fast meal nourishing with gluten-free soups or legumes, and gently break the fast with easy-to-digest foods like bananas or broth. For Lent or other Christian observances, choose gluten-free plant-based meals and carefully check any meat substitutes or processed foods. Hindu fasts often avoid grains entirely, which may actually simplify gluten-free eating. Safe flours like coconut or chickpea flour can help maintain traditional flavors. It's important to recognize that people with celiac disease are already at higher risk of nutritional deficiencies. Fasting can make this worse if you're not careful. Focus on nutrient-dense gluten-free foods like vegetables, lean proteins, and fortified grains. A gluten-free multivitamin might be helpful, and you should always watch for signs of fatigue, hair loss, or other deficiency symptoms. Consulting with a dietitian before beginning long-term fasting is a smart move. Social and emotional challenges can also come up. Fasting is often a group or family activity, and it may be difficult to explain dietary restrictions. Be open with your friends and community about your needs. Bring your own food to events when possible. And remember, your health matters most. If you need to modify your fast for medical reasons, you are not failing. Many religious traditions offer exemptions or alternatives for those with health conditions. There are times when fasting simply isn't safe. If you're newly diagnosed and still healing, or if you're underweight, nutrient deficient, pregnant, breastfeeding, or managing a chronic illness, it's okay, and often necessary, to skip fasting altogether. Your health comes first, and fasting should never compromise that. In conclusion, fasting with celiac disease or gluten sensitivity is entirely doable if you plan carefully and prioritize your health. Choose safe, gluten-free meals, monitor how your body feels, and don't be afraid to modify or delay your fast if needed. Whether you're doing it for health or spiritual reasons, you can participate fully while still protecting your gut and well-being. Here are the key takeaways. Plan ahead and always verify that your food is truly gluten-free. Eat nutrient-rich meals that support your body during limited eating windows. Break your fast gently and avoid risky or unfamiliar foods. Most importantly, adapt your fast if necessary to protect your health. With awareness, preparation, and support, fasting can be both spiritually fulfilling and physically safe for those living gluten-free. To get the latest celiac disease news and information, be sure to subscribe to Celiac.com news. Thank you for tuning in, and see you next time.